Daniel and Joy were home from school again, not for holiday, but because she couldn't pay their school fees. Grace sat quietly in the small sitting room, holding the school letter in her trembling hands. The words blurred as tears filled her eyes. "Dear Madam, until full payment is made, your children cannot resume class." She folded the paper and hid it inside her wrapper. She didn't want the children to see it. Later that afternoon, she went out again to hawk Puff Puff and buns. The sun was hot, her throat dry, but she didn't stop walking. As she moved from one junction to another, she whispered prayers under her breath. "God, please don't let me faint today. Give me strength." Sometimes she would smile at strangers just to hide her pain. "Madam Puff Puff, how much?" a man asked. 200 naira, sir," she replied with a tired smile. She sold everything that day, but when she counted the money, it was still not enough. That night, she knelt by her bed again. "God, I don't know what else to do. I've prayed, I've fasted, I've believed. Why does it feel like you're quiet? Why are you watching me suffer like this?" Tears poured freely down her cheeks. Daniel came out of the room rubbing his eyes. "Mummy, why are you crying again?" Grace quickly wiped her face. "It's nothing, my dear. Go back to bed." He shook his head. "I heard you talking to God. Did he answer?" Grace's voice broke. "Not yet, baby, but he will." Daniel hugged her tightly. "Don't cry, Mummy. God will soon help us." She held him close, crying silently. "Amen, my son. Amen." Meanwhile, at the other side of Lagos, Rita and Michael were enjoying a different kind of life. Rita had bought a new car using Michael's money. She now went to expensive salons and posted pictures online. Soft life only. Small girl with big God. Michael, however, was not himself anymore. He looked pale and confused most of the time. Sometimes he would sit for hours staring into space, forgetting to eat or bathe. "Baby, what is wrong with you again?" Rita snapped one afternoon. He looked up slowly. "I just feel empty." "Empty?" she scoffed. "Maybe you're missing your miserable wife." Michael frowned. "Don't talk about Grace like that." Rita's eyes turned dark immediately. "What did you just say?" "I said don't insult my wife." Rita stood up sharply. "Michael, don't make me regret keeping you in my house." He stood too, trying to defend himself. "You can't talk to me like that." Before he could say another word, she whispered something under her breath and blew air towards him. Michael's body went weak instantly. He fell on his knees, his eyes rolling. Rita smiled coldly. "That's better. You will only obey me." She touched his head and whispered, "Forget Grace. Forget your children. Forget everything about your family and focus only on me." He nodded slowly, his voice faint. "Yes, baby." Back home, Grace's strength was fading fast. She owed the landlord, the shop was gone, and her mother's health in the village was failing. Every day felt like a battle she was losing. Sometimes, she would walk past couples laughing in their cars and whisper, "That used to be me." The memories of how Michael once treated her. The laughter, the love, the peace, now felt like dreams from another life. One hot afternoon, while she was hawking along the main road with her 2 children, a car suddenly lost control and came speeding towards them. Everything happened so fast. Grace screamed, "Jesus," as she tried to push her children away. The car hit Daniel and Joy before she could move. Their small bodies flew across the road. The world went silent. People rushed to help. "Madam, sorry-o. Madam, calm down." Grace fell to her knees beside her children, screaming their names. "Daniel, Joy, please wake up, please." Blood stained their uniforms. They were barely breathing. "Somebody help me," she cried. "Please take them to hospital." Please help me. They are all I've got. A kick driver stopped and helped her lift the children inside. They rushed to the nearest hospital. Grace's heart was beating fast. She kept shouting, "Don't sleep, my babies. Don't sleep." At the hospital, doctors rushed them into the emergency ward. After some minutes, the doctor came out. "Madam, they need urgent surgery. We must act fast." Grace's voice shook. "How much?" 500,000 naira. Her legs almost gave way. "Huh, I don't have that kind of money." "Madam, please hurry. You're losing them." She ran outside, crying and begging strangers. "Please help me. My children are dying. I need money." Some gave her small notes. Others ignored her. She called Michael repeatedly, but he didn't pick. She sent messages. "Michael, please, our children are dying. Help us, please. I'm at General Hospital." No reply. That evening, she summoned courage and went straight to Rita's house on the island. She knocked on the gate frantically until a security man opened. "I want to see Michael," she cried. When she entered, Rita came out wearing a short robe, holding a glass of wine. "What are you doing here?" she asked coldly. Grace knelt down. "Please, I'm begging you in the name of God. My children are in the hospital. They need surgery. Please let Michael give me money to save them. Please, I beg you. Help a fellow woman, please." Her tears flow freely. Rita laughed. "Are you serious? You came all the way here to beg me?" Grace joined her hands. "Please, I'm begging you in God's name. Don't let them die. Please don't let my children die." Rita turned to Michael, who stood behind her like a lost soul. "Michael, tell this woman to leave me presents, right? She's disturbing my peace." Michael looked at Grace blankly. "Grace, please go home." Grace's voice broke. "Michael, they are your children. They'll die if you don't help." He shook his head slowly. "Rita said I shouldn't give you anything," Grace screamed. "Michael, are you hearing yourself? Rita said, these are your children." Rita burst out laughing. "Abig, security! Throw this woman out!" The gate man dragged Grace away as she screamed and kicked. "Michael, please, they are dying." But he didn't move. That night, Grace slept on the hospital floor beside her children's beds, praying and crying until morning. "God, please don't take them. Take me instead. Let my children live." But heaven was still silent. Grace could not sleep at night. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw her 2 children lying on the hospital bed. Big tubes were on their small bodies and the machines made soft beeping sounds. Every morning, her eyes were big and red because she cried all night. But she still went to the hospital every day. She sat beside her children's beds and prayed. She said softly, "God, please don't let my children die. Please help them, even if you don't want to help me." But it felt like God was quiet. Outside the hospital, many people knew Grace already. They called her a woman begging money to save her children. She stood under the hot sun, holding a small bowl. Her clothes were old and her hands were shaking. "Please help me," she said to people. "Please, my children are very sick." Some people gave her 100, some gave 50, and some just walked away. One kind woman who sold food saw Grace and felt sorry for her. She gave Grace a small plate of rice. Grace took it with tears in her eyes. "Thank you, Ma," she said. "I have not eaten since morning." As she ate, she remembered when Michael, her husband, used to take her and the kids to nice restaurants. She asked herself, how did everything change so fast? Her house was now very quiet. Her children's toys were still in the sitting room, their shoes still by the door. Sometimes she sat and just looked at them, crying softly. "Michael," she whispered, "what did that woman do to you? She called Michael many times, but he didn't answer. One day, she borrowed a nurse's phone and tried again. This time he picked up. "Hello?" His voice sounded cold. "Michael, it's me. Grace," she said. "Please help. The children need surgery. Please, for their sake." Then she heard another woman's voice, "Rita." "Who is that?" Abig cut that cool jaw. Then the phone went silent. Grace dropped the phone and fell on her knees, crying. "God," she said. "Why are you watching me suffer like this?" Days passed. The doctor said, "Madam, if you don't bring money soon, we can't help your children anymore." Grace went to her husband's family, but no one helped her. Even Michael's mother said, "My son no longer listens to anyone. That woman controls him." Grace said, "Mama, I have prayed until my knees are weak." That night, it rained heavily. Grace sat under a small roof, her clothes wet and cold. She had begged all day but still didn't have enough money. She whispered, "God, I have prayed. I have fasted. I have cried. Why won't you help me? What did I do wrong?" She was scared of her own thoughts. She said softly, "No, Grace, don't stop believing. Don't say that." But her heart was heavy. The next morning, when she got to the hospital, a nurse said, "Madam Grace, please come with me." Grace ran to the room and froze. Her children were not moving. No beeping sounds. Just quiet. She screamed, "No! Please, God, no!" She shook them, crying, "Wake up! Mummy is here! Please!" But they didn't wake up. Grace cried so hard that everyone in the hospital stopped to watch. That day broke her heart completely. She buried her children quietly. No husband came. No family came. Only 2 neighbors followed her to the small graveyard. After the burial, she went home and sat in the dark. She didn't eat. She didn't talk. She just looked at the wall. Her children were gone. Her husband was gone. Her joy was gone. That night, she looked up at the ceiling and said quietly, "God, if you won't fight for me, then I will fight for myself." After Grace buried her children, everything felt empty. She woke up every day, but she didn't feel alive anymore. The house was quiet. No laughter. No songs. Just silence. Her children's shoes were still near the door. Their toys were still in the room. Sometimes Grace went inside, sat on the floor, and said softly, "My babies, Mummy is sorry. I tried to help you." Then she cried and cried until her body hurt. Her neighbors felt sorry for her. They brought food, but Grace didn't want to eat. She didn't want to talk. One day, her friend Auntie Clara came to visit. She knocked and said, "Grace, open the door. You can't stay like this." Grace opened slowly. Her eyes were red. "Clara, I'm tired," she said. "I prayed and begged God, but he still took my children. What else does he want from me?" Clara held her hand. "Don't say that, Grace. God knows why." Grace cried harder. "Knows why? How can God watch my children die? I begged him." She fell on her knees and cried again. Clara hugged her, but she didn't know what to say. That evening, Grace sat outside her small house. The sun was going down. She could hear children playing far away. She remembered when Michael used to come home and play with their kids. Now he was gone, living with another woman. Grace whispered, "Rita, you will never have peace." Her voice was quiet, but her eyes looked angry. A few days later, Grace went to see Michael one last time. When she got there, she saw Rita sitting outside, drinking juice and smiling. Grace called softly, "Rita." Rita looked at her and laughed. "What do you want, old madam? Didn't I tell you to stop coming here?" Grace said, "Please, I don't want to fight. I just want to see my husband. I lost my children. I need help." Rita laughed again. Your husband? You mean my man? Michael is mine now. Go away. Grace started crying. Please, Rita, I beg you. Rita shouted. Michael, your crazy ex-wife is here again. Michael came out. He looked tired and angry. Grace, why are you here again? She woke up every day, but she didn't feel alive anymore. The house was quiet. No laughter, no songs, just silence. Her children's shoes were still near the door. Their toys were still in the room. Sometimes Grace went inside, sat on the floor, and said softly, "My babies, Mummy is sorry. I tried to help you." Then she cried and cried until her body hurt. Her neighbors felt sorry for her. They brought food, but Grace didn't want to eat. She didn't want to talk. One day, her friend Auntie Clara came to visit. She knocked and said, "Grace, open the door. You can't stay like this." Grace opened slowly. Her eyes were red. "Clara, I'm tired," she said. "I prayed and begged God, but he still took my children. What else does he want from me?" Clara held her hand. "Don't say that, Grace. God knows why." Grace cried harder. "Knows why? How can God watch my children die? I begged him." She fell on her knees and cried again. Clara hugged her, but she didn't know what to say. That evening, Grace sat outside her small house. The sun was going down. She could hear children playing far away. She remembered when Michael used to come home and play with their kids. Now he was gone, living with another woman. Grace whispered, "Rita, you will never have peace." Her voice was quiet, but her eyes looked angry. A few days later, Grace went to see Michael one last time. When she got there, she saw Rita sitting outside, drinking juice and smiling. Grace called softly, "Rita." Rita looked at her and laughed. "What do you want, old madam? Didn't I tell you to stop coming here?" Grace said, "Please, I don't want to fight. I just want to see my husband. I lost my children. I need help." Rita laughed again. "Your husband? You mean my man? Michael is mine now. Go away." Grace started crying. "Please, Rita, I beg you." Rita shouted, "Michael, your crazy ex-wife is here again." Michael came out. He looked tired and angry. "Grace, why are you here again?" Grace said softly, "Michael, I just came to tell you. Our children are gone. They're dead." For a moment, Michael looked sad, but then Rita touched his shoulder and whispered something. Right away, Michael shouted, "Leave my house. Go away." Grace's heart broke again. She said, "Michael, it's me, your wife, Grace, the mother of your children." But he turned and walked inside. Rita laughed. "You heard him. Leave now before I call the guard." Grace couldn't speak anymore. She just turned and walked away, tears falling on her face. That night it rained. Grace sat alone in the dark. She looked up and said, "God, you see what they did to me. You see my pain. Why are you quiet? What did I do wrong?" But there was no answer, only the rain. She cried again. "You took my children. You let my husband leave me. Why, God?" The candle near her bed shook, and she stared at it. She was too tired to cry anymore. "Maybe you want me to fight for myself," she said quietly. That night, Grace didn't pray. She just sat still, thinking. Days passed. People started to whisper about her. Some said, "She's going crazy." Others said, "She might hurt herself." One afternoon, Grace walked past two women talking by the road. "That's the woman whose husband left her," one said. "The one whose children died?" asked the other. "Yes. Her life is full of bad luck." Grace kept walking. but her heart hurt. That night, she dreamed about her children. They were smiling and calling her, "Mummy, Mummy." She tried to run to them, but a big dark shadow stopped her. She woke up screaming. She sat up, shaking. "I can't live like this anymore," she whispered. "If God won't help me, maybe someone else will." She remembered hearing about an old woman who lived at the end of the town. People said the woman had powers. Before, Grace was afraid of her, but now, she didn't feel afraid anymore. She looked around her empty room and said softly, "Maybe that woman can help me. Maybe she can help me get my life back."